Okay, so before we configuring static routing on R1, R2, and R3, let's take a look at this topology. And let me just draw the network diagram, right? And there's another network in here, right? The IP address of this network is 172.16.3.0/24, right? And there's another network, right? And that network IP address is 2.0, okay, 192, okay. So that is 192.168.2.0, right? Okay. So at this point, right? At this point, when you ping from R2 to 172.16.3.1, right? Basically, that's the IP address of this gateway router. This IP address from R2, right? So at this point, R2, right? R2 only knows. But by the way, this is before configuring static routing. So for R2, right? R2 only knows this network because directly connected, and this guy, and then this guy, right? Because these three networks are directly connected to R2. However, for R2, at this point, it does not know the this remote network, right? This network R2 has is not aware of this remote network, right? R2, this yellow network, as shown in this. Let's see, for R2, right? When you type show IP route, right? It knows the three directly connected networks, C, and C, right? So basically C, the three are greens, but R2 is not aware of this yellow network, right? So let's just try to ping, right, from R2 as shown in this lecture. Let's just try to ping 172.16.1.3.1, which is this right, this point, which is the part of the yellow network, right? And see what happens. So when I ping, right, ping 172.16.3.1, let's ping this node. Okay, the success rate is 0%. It's obviously because it does not really know where it should send that packet to. And this is why I want you to read this, right? This is very important. Important concept to know, right? And I think you can find out why this is so. Okay. So next is, now what? We are going to configure this R2. I mean, actually R1, R2, and R3, right? But since I already explained about R2, let me first configure R2, okay? So for R2, right? Let's see, where is R2? This is the, hold on. Okay, so for R2, right, you have to, by typing the static, I already explained this in the previous lecture, right, in the theory part. You have to use what? The command called IP route, right? IP route and IP route. So for R2, I have to say IP route this yellow, right? Yellow network. this yellow network IP route, and then another command called IP route in this guy, the second yellow. Okay, so let's just do that for R2. So config T, right? And in the configuration mode, type IP route 172.16.3.0, and then subnet mask information, right? And then finally, what? The next hop IP address. So 172.16.2.1, 172.16.2.1, right? Basically, this is what? This is the next hop IP address, right? So the IP address of what? So now you are in R2, right? Now you are in R2, right? So next hop IP address is this guy. So because this is like your final destination, right? So to reach to the final destination, you have to go through this this point, right? So this is called next hop IP address, which is this 172.16.2.1, right? Oops. Yeah, paste. Okay, so that's the IP address. Okay, and then obviously 172.16.3.0/24 is here, right? That's the IP address. Okay, and then I'm going to configure the second network, the yellow one, right? Which is not directly connected, right? That's why I have to configure static routing. So for R2, I'm done with the first one, and then I need to type the second command, IP route 172.16, not 16, 192 dot what? 16.2.0, and this is my IP address. So let's just copy. I don't know if it's make. Okay, so IP route. Yeah, it works good. I can paste. Okay, 192.168.2.0, and then this is my subnet mask and next hop IP address. Okay, so obviously this IP address is IP address of so this is next hop IP address, right? Which is the IP address of this next hop. So right now you're in R2, right? So next hop IP address is this guy, right? Next hop. So that's the IP address right there. Okay, and then R3. Okay, so let's see. Okay, now I'm done. And I want you to type show IP route to compare the routing table. Okay, so this is very important. Yeah, so this is the previous routing table without static routing, and now with the static routing, you can see the S, right? S is static routing. So it means to get to this final destination, this is like final destination, and then you have to go through this IP address. And S also means static routing. In order to reach this network as a final destination, you have to go through this interface, right? So this is the routing table after static routing is configured on R2. Okay, in the next lecture, I'm going to configure static routing on either R1 or R3. Okay, thank you.